I'm Hobbs, and you're watching The Underground Bunker on Bloodrock Media.
Exit light into night, grain of sand, we're off the never, never land.
Hello friends, welcome to another episode of The Underground Bunker. I am your esteemed host, Hobbs. And as you know, this is a weekly web series where I showcase unsigned and underground bands that I really think you ought to be paying attention to. And in this day and age, when everyone's pissed off about everything, we all need to be listening to way more music, because music just makes everything better. And it's in that respect that I think today is going to be a really good show. Despite the fact that I'm having surgery this week, I am doing this. I'm not gonna let this stuff bother me. And in that regard, let's do a fucking show! Teeing off this week's episode is a band that I've enjoyed live and on disc for a couple of years now. And they are called H1Z1. They actually got their start in 2010, back when they were actually called H1N1. Now, they changed their name. They changed their name because of a potential legal dispute with Henry Rollins, and I guess something that he was a part of a long time ago. The funny thing about that is they changed their name from that, from something that, in my opinion, not many people have heard of, to H1Z1, which is a video game, which many people have heard of. Their sound, and this is in large part thanks to the mastermind guitarist, Patrick Gunderson, their sound reminds me of a mix. Sweetie, move! Their sound reminds me of a happy mix between Rage Against the Machine and Lamb of God. And I think this is really cool. That's not a couple of bands that you would readily put together, and their sound is very refreshing, especially with Mark on vocals. The guy is nuts on stage. I've photographed these guys a couple of times, and trying to take a picture of him is like herding cats, and it's sweetie. It's like herding cats, because he's just all over the place, and it's so much fun to watch. Add to that the fact that the rest of the band is just as nuts. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing their brand new bass player on stage, but Patrick and Justin and the drummer Juan are just so animated on stage and so much fun to watch. And too many bands just sort of get up there and noodle. These guys do not do that. Patrick is really heavy on the effects and the whammy wah, which is awesome, but they are no less a performing band, and there's not enough of that going around. Now I have knowledge on first-hand account that these guys are going to be doing a shitload of shows this year, hopefully doing Summerfest again, and so I highly recommend that you check them out live. The album is called Unbounded. If you can't catch them live, I do recommend that you buy the album and check them out on Facebook. The next band I'm going to bring you is a band that quickly reminded me of Seven Dust, and given where Seven Dust is these days, I'm quite happy to be able to say that. This is A Silent Truth. These guys actually surprised the hell out of me. I don't hear a lot out of Chicago, despite there being a super abundance of metal out of Chicago. You don't really hear a lot coming out of Chicago, oddly enough. I don't get that, but it's what happens. So these guys sort of struck a perfect chord with me because, I dig this sound. And it's not because I, liked old Seven Dust, which I did. First heard Seven Dust when I was in the Army a long time ago, and these guys sort of reminded me of that. I like them not because they remind me of Seven Dust, but they have some serious talent. The fact that they remind me of Seven Dust, I said Seven Dust a lot. It says nothing about the band. They just do. They are a 5-piece band out of Chicago. They got their start in 2009. So I don't know why the hell I haven't heard of them until now. It just doesn't make sense to me. So their sound, as I said, it's reminiscent of old Seven Dust. And that comes in large part due to the singer John, whose sound and name sounds an awful lot like LeJean Witherspoon from Seven Dust. So credit where credit is due. The guy's got skill. And the rest of the band kind of reminds me of old Slipknot, because they have a really, really crazy, slow and fast dynamic that really adds to the overall sound of the band, because these guys don't just do, what I call the Chevelle syndrome, where each song is within 10 beats per minute of each other, which gets awesome. One cool thing about this band is their fucking work ethic. Because not only is their music engineered and not overproduced, they script that line really, really well. But they also book the shit out of this year. They have book shows all the way up until July. Now, there's not many touring bands that do that, let alone local bands, so power to them. Their current EP is called The Ascension, which you can get at their shows. They just had a Bandcamp, so you can check those out. You can check out their music on Reverb Nation, and you can also check them out on Facebook, which I highly recommend. Segway! The next band is another one of those bands that I wouldn't normally be attracted to, because I'm not necessarily I don't shut the door, but I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the sound. That said, I was immediately attracted to their sound and their style. These guys are called GreenOne. I think the last stoner rock band that I liked was maybe Transport League, but I don't even call it stoner rock. Let's see. Yeah, I can't really recall many that I really like. That said, I really like this band, and I actually found out about them just very recently. Just scrolling through Bandcamp. I really recommend that you do that, because you will have music for days just listening to the songs that they're showcasing. Really recommend it. Now, they are a 4-piece stoner doom band, and what sticks out to me is the fact that they're not from the States. They're actually from the UK, which is not known for stoner bands. So cool. They got their start last year, really early last year, and they've been doing pretty well. They were really busy, although they took some time off in the late summer, presumably recording music. Here's why it's interesting to me. The band sounds like a mix between Ghost, thanks to the singer, and the Rollins Band, which is not a stoner band, but you get where I'm going with this, like Wait album Rollins Band, that kind of, dragging beat, but still really rocking stuff. Now, while they were pretty busy last year, so far they don't have a whole lot going on yet. They do have a couple of shows if you're in the UK, which, a lot of you get over there. They do have a couple of shows going on in the spring, and I think that they'd be a hell of a lot of fun to watch, given that their sound, the sound is reminiscent of, Ghost and Rollins Band. The current EP is called Free the Witch. You can definitely check it out on Bandcamp. Otherwise, go find them on Facebook. Definitely do it now. Segway! It's not often that I get to deviate from my normal repertoire. So when I do, I'm quite happy about that. So let's take a left turn and talk about DualCore.
Can't tell me nothing about this crypto. This O-Day, these forensics, strictly for my hackers. Hackers on the grind.
These guys are technically a 2-piece nerdcore rap duo based on the internet, and I mean that quite literally, because one guy lives in Ohio and the other guy lives in Manchester, UK. So the fact that these guys sort of found each other is kind of cool. It's like soulmates in music. And they didn't actually even meet until a year after they did their first song. it's really nice to see when a lower tier, and I hate using that phrase, when a lower tier band or group gets a nice bump. And I say that because DualCore got one of their songs into a video game recently. If any of you have heard of Watch Dogs 2, yeah, I thought so. One of their songs is on it. It's called All the Things. So, if you've not played Watch Dogs 2, then you should definitely go listen to the song. But if you have played Watch Dogs 2, you've probably heard it, and it probably stuck in your head because it's really, really good. So for those of you who don't know the song, you can go listen to it on... So for those of you who do not know the song, you can go listen to it on DualCoreMusic.com. Other than that, like everybody else, they have a Facebook page. Go check it out. This last band is a band that I've actually been waiting to talk about for a while. They've been on the schedule for a couple of months and been waiting to talk about them. I can finally bring you Secure. Why have I been waiting to talk about this band? Well, I will tell you. And that's because you don't get a whole lot of bands from Moscow popping up on the radar. So these guys, when they popped up to me, they immediately stuck out. This is another band that I found on Bandcamp. And just really, really, really good stuff. Given that they've only been around since 2016, also, it says a lot about their work ethic. And I say this every time I hear it, talk about a Russian band. The fact that they have such good music in a country that just doesn't give their people a lot. I mean, the oligarchs take everything, and they put people in prison for pretty much nothing these days. So the fact that the music sounds as good as it does, and these guys are as good as they are on stage, says a lot about their work ethic. So yeah, like I said, they started in 2016. They immediately went to record their first album, which is called Awake. And upon releasing Awake, immediately went back into the studio to record their current album, which is called Chasing Rainbows. And since many of my viewers are not in Russia, I highly recommend that you go check it out on the Bandcamp, because it's definitely worth listening to. You can also listen to it on SoundCloud. They have their entire album on there. And the whole thing is just amazing balls-out metal, which is really, really cool because it's new metal, and you don't get a lot of new metal anymore, and these guys do it really, really well. If you are, however, in Russia, do check these guys out. I don't know when they have any shows coming up because they don't have any event pages or a .com or anything like that, but do pay attention to their Facebook because you never know. That's all the time we have on this episode of The Underground Bunker. I invite you once again to like and subscribe. We need your help. We need the outreach. Bring us bands. Do check out all the links below. Those bands need your help. They need your help. They need your support. Get on it. Also check out the Spotify playlist, which gets longer every week. If you guys want your music reviewed, please email bloodrockmedia@gmail.com. And also, if you have 54 spare minutes of your time, please do check out The Toxic Dream. It is my own personal metal project, and I think you'd like it a lot. I'm going to leave you with this remark. I firmly believe that every music lover's New Year's resolution should have been, I am going to support more music this year. How about you go ahead and change that one that you already broke to that specific one? Because they need your help. We all need to be loving these bands. I'm Hobbs. I'm out!